Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Juggalo Championship Wrestling's Backstage Lunacy. I'm your host, Mac Davis, along with my co-host, Mr. Jeff Lane. Hey, Jeff.
What's going on, Mac?
Hey, man,
guys, we want to talk with you tonight too, don't we, Mac? They got to get their questions in. We'll talk about anything you guys want to talk about.
Hey, man, look here. This chat room is open, but we use it by super stickers. So just simply send us a super sticker. We'll throw it up on the screen. That's how we make our money, and we'd certainly appreciate it. But you get your questions on as well, and we get to talk back and forth, which is what I want to do tonight. Look here. As you saw, it got very cold at this episode of Lunacy, and I got to tell you, some of the best segments of the show tonight that just blew me away. One in particular that I know Jeff and I agree on because we've already mentioned it right off the bat when we first got into the room. So I'm looking forward to that. But let's talk about how the show started, Jeff. We got Big Vito, who came out with PCO, MICKIE KNUCKLES, and eventually NIC NEMETH. What were your thoughts on how we opened the show tonight?
Well, I thought it was good, and I liked Veto not wanting to address what happened last week, so Nemeth brought it up. I thought that was a cool touch about, well, hey, why aren't you calling the cops on her after you know what she said to you? So I thought that was good. Anytime you can get a pro to come in like Nemeth, that's always great. Mickey's fantastic. So I thought this went off well. There is one thing I wanted to talk about, Mac, because before we get into the show fully, because I've seen a few people in comments and tweets and stuff say this, and I may need more explanation from you guys if you think this way, but there's people that think Jeff the ref being back is a plot hole. And so I want to kind of understand why you guys think that, because I don't see it that way. I'm going to tell you how I see it, and then you guys can decide if you agree with me or disagree with me. We know that the mist gets you very, very, very sick. And if Barnabas does not give you the antidote, well, you're in trouble. And we see what happens when Barnabas does give them the antidote. They almost immediately snap out of it. They're fine, right? It kills the thing. But Jeff the ref did not get the antidote. And what happened to Jeff the ref? He's been gone for months. It took him months to heal and come back. So I don't know where the plot hole is unless you expected him to die, unless you expected him to turn into a zombie, which we know the Outbreak, guys, they live the zombie lifestyle. They identify as zombies. So this mist does not turn somebody into a zombie. I want you to think about it this way. If at your job, you have a coworker and they've been out for months with an illness, and then they come back to work after like 2 months, are you like, wait a minute, how are you here? That's a plot hole. That's the way I'm looking at this. So I guess I need to understand what you guys think is missing from this. But to me, this guy has been gone for months healing from that. So that's my take on that. But of course, if you guys got different takes, I would love to hear it and discuss that further.
Yeah, throw it in the chat. Again, super chats are how we do it. And I do want to mention we have a couple of special things tonight. We do have a special look at Barnabas that will be coming up behind the Lunacy. And also our live special guest tonight will be Caleb Connley, the chosen one. He'll be with us tonight as well. So you can make sure you join us for that. But in the meantime, I do want to mention in the beginning, when it came to Big Vito, PCO, MICKIE KNUCKLES, and NIC NEMETH, I thought it was an interesting and funny segment. I love the fact that Vito kept telling Mickey to go stand in the corner because she wouldn't leave him alone because she was all hands on. It was a great piece of business there. And I liked how he also referenced to NIC NEMETH being Dolph Ziggler as well, kind of playing into that role as well. But just really a lot of fun stuff in there. I do think, though, that the part of the night that really got to be fun was when the crowd had to join in and start doing the Viagra chant.
Yeah, and I liked how...
But instead, they surprised NIC NEMETH by not really doing that. If you were there live, you heard the fans really yelling Blue Chew more than Viagra. And it was the whole place was just rocking the Blue Chew. Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, I think Blue Chew is more over these. Yeah, I think Blue Chew is more over these days than Viagra. Viagra, old guys like us, you know, that was what we knew back in the day. But Blue Chew is over, and I liked how that's what set Veto off. That's that's why he jumped Nemeth, because of the blue chew.
Yeah.
that popped me. I like that.
We got up next. We did get a tape interview that I had to do with Facade. And Jeff, let me get your opinion. What did you think about that interview?
I like how he put you over and he's like, you trying to outsize me? I thought that was good. I like seeing him. You know, he hasn't talked in a while. He's just been, you know, doing his matches and getting, you know, his match style over, and the gimmick of him, he's going to do anything to win. So not only was that addressed in this, you guys addressed that, but we also got to hear him speak, which we haven't in a while. So I like that little interaction, and it did pop me when he tried to when he put you over, saying you were trying to outsize him.
Yeah, standing on a box. So, yeah, you know, the funny thing is that since I've been with JCW and been watching the show since you know I've known, you know, about JCW. I've noticed that his attitude has changed quite a bit, and so has the crowd. The crowd, you know, one time they loved him. I mean, loved Facade. Now they got some issues with Facade. You can hear it in the audience. They're not exactly crazy about his newfound ways of winning matches. But now here is one of those moments of the night, Jeff, that I've got to say, when it comes to entertainment and JCW and Lunacy, I can't wait for this next person to show up. But in the same time, I hope the promos never stop. These things are fantastic. Tonight, we got to meet Mr. Wiggles and from Father Bronson. Jeff, that is some of the funniest shit I've seen in a long time. Really good stuff.
Yeah, Mr. Wiggles is over. I like Mr. Wiggles. But yeah, we've had, I think, 4 of them now. I think this was the 4th one. And with everyone, I think you're starting to want to see this guy more. You know, originally, the first one we see, we're confused. What the hell is this? What's going on? This guy's teaching us how to make tea. He's got a hot woman in a red mask. You know, what's going on with that? But now, especially with last week, when he's getting pissed off, the office is telling him to talk about himself. Don't worry about the candles. And look, I felt bad for the guy. Like, I'm watching this, and when I'm like, man, just let him play with his candles. You know, leave the guy alone. Let him play with his candles. That's how good this guy is. So yeah, another strong one tonight. And I don't know how long it is going to be before we see him, but I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, you know, that is, he didn't really catch my eye, I'm going to be honest, until the last maybe 2 or 3 shows. The original ones, I don't even think I really paid him attention. I think I almost glazed over him as a commercial, as part of a commercial break, and didn't realize what I was seeing. And then as I did, it was like, hold on, wait a minute. I got to go back and watch these things. I love the packages. Whoever's doing these packages, it may be him. I don't know who it is that's involved. Fantastic job. Keep it up, because those are some of the highlights of the show tonight. I was watching that piece right there. Another piece of work that we got, Jeff, was our first match, and it was Facade, who is the champion, the JCW American champion, and he went up against SEWACIDE in a non-title match. Again, Facade doing exactly what we mentioned in the interview. He took a shortcut again.
Well, I thought that was a creative finish, too, a way to do that. And you can only do that finish, obviously, if somebody is in there with a mask. You twist in the mask so he can't see. I don't even know if I would count that as cheating.
Okay, I was going to say the same thing. As much as I want to give him a hard time for taking a shortcut, is that cheating? The guy's wearing a mask. That's not Facade's fault. That's the guy in the mask. That's your issue. You know that's going to be a problem if it's, you know, it comes about, and it came about and bit him in the ass. I agree with you. I don't think it's really cheating if he twists the mask. You know, that's just called smart, really.
Yeah, I guess we'd have to ask the referees on that one, how that works. But I like seeing Facade do anything it takes to win. I think I think he's pulling it off well. But yeah, the finish was very creative, I thought.
Yeah, I love what they do with this. I'm curious to see what we're going to do with Facade. I got a feeling we're going to see a major turn come soon that it may surprise everybody. Up next, we did get Barnabas, who's plotting with the Outbreak to go ahead and take care of COKANE. And he tells him at this point of the show, stay away from the devil's dust. And of course, this is the theme that's going to go throughout the show tonight. What's happening with the guys and the zombies and the cokehead. I mean, all these guys are going to come together at some point. But I love the fact that he says, stay away from the devil's dust. But we're going to get into more in just a minute. But up next, I do want to talk about one other thing that really took place that surprised me. And that was a female match, and we're going to get into that in just a moment. But first, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the merchandise, because a lot of people, Jeff, I know you've been saying this, I'd be wearing a hat tonight if I had a JCW cap, but there is a chance that a lot of people would like to get some of that merchandise. I know you've got a book behind you, and what else do you have merch wise?
Yeah, well, this book is amazing. You guys, if you are a big fan of Insane Clown Posse, a big fan of wrestling, you need to get the this is the volume 1 book with the wrestling. The thing is freaking huge. It's got so many amazing pictures from WWF, WCW days in the start of JCW. It's a magnificent book. But yeah, the merch is back in. I actually ordered a hat. It was supposed to be here today, but the post office is running slow. I had a plan. I was going to show the new JCW hat tonight on the show, but my local post office has screwed me over, so that we'll have to wait to next week. But yeah, Psychopathic Vault, guys, a lot of great new merch in stock and some returning favorites as well.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, if you want to see more, here you go. I don't know what just happened. Let's have that back
over here. You don't even wanna get near. Shit, if I was you, I'd turn around and back on up before the ass get stuck, little buster. Trying to meet mug with that lip flapping. What you thought was gonna happen? Turn around, bitch boy, and break out fast before you get that foot in your ass, motherfucker.
And welcome back to Backstage Lunacy All Access. I'm your host, Mac Davis, along with Jeff Lane. And Jeff, one of the things I didn't want to talk about, we'll talk about in just a minute, but I don't want to skip over one of the other great moments of tonight's show. And that was Veto with Mr. Anderson and eventually MICKIE KNUCKLES. Again, here, people ask, and I know they don't understand a lot of times Vince Russo's thinking. And this is one of those cases where entertainment, drawing people from moment to moment in the show, is what draws viewers and creates ratings. And he does a great job of that because he's got these guys giving some great performances. You got Mr. Anderson and Veto facing off, and it was really good.
Yeah, notice the viewers are starting to really like the Anderson and Veto interactions, and I think we talked about this last week.
We
but
did.
That's not something you tell these guys what to do. Those are those guys just doing it, doing it on their own. And yeah, Anderson. I don't listen. I'm not a pro wrestler. I'm not a professional actor. If I'm in there and he's doing that kissy thing at me, I'm losing it. So props to Veto for not losing it in that situation. You there, bro? I think you froze.
Yeah, I really. I'm sorry. Am I here now? Okay. Yeah, one of the things that I like is seeing some of the natural chemistry between people in JCW, and those two have that natural chemistry. So does Mickie as well with Veto. I mean, her work with Veto, and a little bit later we'll talk about her again. Just fantastic stuff. All right, let's get back to the matches, though. Let's talk about the match that actually brought in a lot of folks to the show that night, and that was the match with Danny Moe and Big Al versus J-Rod and Havoc, with the winner of the pinfall becoming the #1 contender. It also was an all-weapons legal match. What'd you think, Jeff?
Well, yeah, Sophia Rose with J-Rod in this match. I like the stipulation where you're working as a team, but only one of you is actually going to get the prize. So whoever gets the pinfall is the #1 contender. So that was interesting. I will never get these Lego spots. You could not pay me, and I'm a wuss. You couldn't pay me enough money in the world to land on a bunch of Legos. Everybody knows, everybody that's ever stepped on a Lego, the corner of a Lego hits you, whatever it is. These girls were nuts, man. But props to them. But man, you wouldn't catch me dead doing any of that stuff.
If you want to get a feel for what it was like from the audience view of things, we got something for you here.
Introducing first.
And that's giving you a look at from the fan perspective of that particular match. And also want to remind you, Caleb Connley will be joining us live at in just about 10 minutes from now. Should be right around 9:30. And also we have a special interview with Barnabas coming up in just a moment as well. All right, let's talk about Vince Russo. He looked a little bit unnerved when Violent J came in, but honestly, Violent J came in to apologize, and it felt like Vince wanted to make more out of it than it needed to be. Jeff, what did you think?
Yeah, that's what you get. Don't you start wanting Violent J to just kind of punch Vince?
Yes.
You know, because here's Violent J coming in there being a man. I apologize, where personally I don't even think he needed to apologize. Honestly, you know, I don't think he did anything wrong needing to apologize. But yeah, it just seems like Vince wants to antagonize further. And I've noticed something tonight too. I've noticed this for years, and especially with what happens at the end of the show. For some reason, Vince is like the only person in wrestling where when the people are watching him, they think it's real. They think he's the real person. They think that's who he is. It's been that way ever since he's in WCW. They will react to the show like it's a show the entire thing, but as soon as Vince picks up a microphone, they think that that is the real person speaking. Yep. I go back to a few weeks ago, you know, maybe a month or so ago now, almost probably 2 months, where he did the promo on CM Punk and he talked about him being 50 years old and wearing a shirt, and everybody's like, oh, what an idiot. Anderson wears a shirt. No shit. Like, you got a heel in there cutting a promo. Like, they think that this is the real man. It blows my mind because I haven't seen this with anybody else before.
Now, one of the things I did like, I like the fact that, you know, Vince did make you want to see what he was going to say later in the show. Again, another one of those things that you do to keep people watching the show. It's something some of the bigger shows really need to pay attention to because, in all honesty, that's how you draw people and that's how you make numbers happen. All right, let's talk about PCO. He went into Vito's office, slapping him around a little bit. I found that kind of amusing, Jeff.
The chat seemed to love that live. I try to, if you guys haven't heard before, I try to take notes during the show what the chat pops for, like the biggest chat pops. And it's when does the chat start moving fast? It doesn't matter if they like it or hate it. Are they reacting? Are they talking really fast? And PCO yelling at Vito was one of those times. They like PCO yelling, I think. I would like to see more of that too.
What did you think about the match between Mecha Wolf and Disco Ray with Ring Rat? What were your thoughts?
Man, I like to see the Mecha Wolf using the mist again. I think it's been a while since we've seen that in JCW. They popped for the wall spot. I don't know if that was planned or not, but Disco Ray going through the wall. And then of course, I'm sure Disco Ray has pink eye now after what happened to him there with the
what
ring
happened,
rat.
Jeff? I missed it. What happened?
Yeah. Face to the ass, I believe they call it. But very, very creative stuff throughout the entire match. It's funny with Disco Ray. Not everybody, but a lot of people. Oh, Disco Inferno. I hate to tell you guys, if you're a lot younger than me, but Disco Inferno is not an original character. Okay, go watch Saturday Night Fever. Now, it also, besides that, if you take Disco out of Disco Ray's name, there's really not a lot of similarities between him and Disco Inferno. So I think we may be a little stretchy here trying to say that he's ripping off Disco Inferno. Disco didn't invent disco, guys, or any of those dance moves. I hate to tell you that.
But you know, the great thing was, Jeff, is that Disco actually won his match tonight. I think that was a major surprise. I don't think anybody really expected that to happen. As a matter of fact, got a little video for you here that I got on the disco floor after the show ended, and here's what happened.
We won!
For whatever reason, I have to do this twice, and it makes me angry.
Show me your moves, baby. Bring it in here, girl. Yeah! Got this one, class. Cool, grab it. Disco ring rat. Against the world, baby. Let's go, Daddy.
And that's how they celebrated the win with Disco Ray and the Ring Rat. Let's talk about Cocaine, Outbreak, and Barnabas again. We get another segment that tells us a little bit more, Jeff.
Well, before we get to what actually happened in this, I like how Barnabas, if you attack the Outbreak or you do him wrong, the next week he's going to get you. Like
Yes,
I love that part about Barnabas, how he's so devious. And the next week, all right, fine, he's got a plan, and they're going to get cocaine tonight, and they did get cocaine tonight in more ways than one.
Yes, and that's what made it so funny to me. He's yelling at him at one point, just about what they're doing and how it's going to ruin everything. That, again, is just great comedic stuff. At the same time, drama to draw people in through the show. It's not just about wrestling in the ring. It's about the entertainment between those matches that matters in JCW. And that's why the audience... By the way, I want to mention this again. Barnabas will be a special guest in our Behind the Lunacy, a little short interview that we'll have with him. And also we have Caleb Connley, who will join us at 9:30. So he'll be in the room in just a few moments. And we'll take your super chat questions. Anything you have for him, me, or Jeff, or the show, or anything else, make sure you get him in by super chat. All right, let's talk about one of the best parts of the night. To me, this was the best part of the night, and I mean this only from the entertainment value. So those of you who may work in JCW, this is just for the entertainment value. But NIC NEMETH and MICKIE KNUCKLES stole the show for me, Jeff.
Yeah, anybody that didn't have a 12-inch stick up their ass enjoyed this. All right, this is entertainment. This was hilarious. This was two pros doing their thing. I've always been a fan of wrestling for the entertainment stuff like this. There's variety throughout the show. If you want, a high flying type match, you had that earlier with Facade and SEWACIDE. If you like seeing a bigger style fight where people are brawling, you got that in the main event tonight. If you want freaking hilarious comedy, you got that here. So I think it all fills a niche here. This style is one of my personal favorites, and that's not something you see on a sheet of paper. These are these two just going out there and doing ridiculous things and popping the audience.
And if you know Mickie well, you know that she's a little bit nutty. I mean, she really is. She's hilarious backstage. And so when she was in the ring, you could see him kind of jumping away from her, going, no, 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 no. Look, a lot of that was probably very real at the moment with Nick, because she can mess with people, and she's really good at it. But it just made the entire segment for me. And again, that for me was the segment of the night. But we did get a tag team match.
Sorry, one more thing. I apologize for cutting you off there, but it's also very unexpected. When you see that NIC NEMETH is going to be on the show tonight, and you're trying to figure out, I wonder who they're going to have him wrestle. Nobody's picking Mickey Knuckles. And that's the thing. The show is unpredictable, and it keeps people there, because what are we going to see next? You're not going to get the same run-of-the-mill crap you get on every other show. It's unpredictable. You're not going to see that match anywhere else. You're going to see it in JCW, and to me, this was like, it was a freaking home run. And for people that were upset because it wasn't a bell-to-bell wrestling match, man, just lighten up and have fun, because to me, this was fun.
Yeah, this is some of the best entertainment I've seen put out there that was non-wrestling. I mean, they're actually just between two people, and they actually were wrestling. The funny thing was, he won, I think, by a kiss pin, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. He actually ended up, and it was kissing her, just to keep her kind of down to get it over with. But man, I got to tell you, good stuff. But we also had the tag team match. It was Too Tough Tony and Willie Mack versus PCO and Veto for the JCW tag team titles. How'd you think? What'd you think about that, Jeff?
That punch at the end, man, that was such a good punch on the ref, wasn't it? I just like this is the stuff that I think is good, and I don't know if other people see it this way, but why did like, I know what people are thinking. Oh, Veto got DQ'd, now they can't win. You cost them from becoming the tag team champions. They lost if he didn't do that. So it's like you're gonna lose either way, but you're not gonna pin us. So I'd rather be DQ'd than be pinned. It's a psychological thing. That's why Veto breaks up that pin. So to me, I like seeing stuff like, if you're going to have like a DQ, it's got to make sense. Yep. And to me, that made sense, because PCO was not kicking out, and that's why Veto did that. The end of the night, the Vince Russo promo, when he came out and kind of laid out a lot of things about ownership of the company and Jay and everything else, and then made a proposition. What did you think about the proposition he made, Jeff? Well, it's another thing. Where are they going to go with this? And that's always a good thing, in my opinion. If you can get people asking questions, but you don't get the answers tonight, you get them next week, you get them in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever it is. That's what keeps people coming back. And that's, of course, if it's done well, that obviously that goes with the talent performing and everything like that. But I think that's one thing that JCW does very well, is gives you the questions that you want answers to, that you have to come back to find. All right, so now we have a big situation coming up, and I liked how the way that Vince laid it out, because like, well, why would Violent J accept that? Because Violent J wants his company back. It's his baby. He created it. Like Vince said, what can he do with his 49% right now? Nothing. It's just like a stocks, or he's making money. He has no power in the company at 49%. So of course he would want to do this, because now he has a chance to get his company back. But will that happen? And if not, Veto, imagine if Veto gets half of the company, that's going to be chaos. So I like how this is, because you got obviously everybody wanting Violent J to win this match. They do. Will it happen? I guess we're going to have to tune in and find out. And that's the best part of this. Where are they going to go with this? Who's he going to pick as his partner? I don't see him asking Matt Cross again, but that's just me. No. I don't see him bringing Matt Cross back to ask him to fight for him this time. So it'll be interesting to see who they pick on each side.
Great show tonight. We do have a special guest that's going to be coming in the room with us in just a moment. That is Caleb Connley, the chosen one. But first, I've been promising a quick interview with Barnabas with Behind the Lunacy, and here it is. As always, I got to do this twice, Jeff. Don't know why, but... Welcome back to another edition of Behind the Lunacy. And with me this time around, Barnabas the Bizarre. How are you, my friend?
Mac Davis, please allow the purveyor of peculiar, Barnabas the Bizarre, to officially welcome you to the land of lunacy known as JCW.
Let me ask you, Barnabas, how'd you get involved in wrestling in the first place?
Barnabas, ever since he was a wee little lad, has absolutely loved the incredible art form known as professional wrestling. Starting at an early age, admiring all of the stars from world-class championship wrestling, the Von Erichs, the Freebirds, the outlandish characters like Bruiser Brody or the Missing Link. But it was specifically the managerial minds that caught the eye and the attention of old Barnabas. Individuals like Gary Hart, Percy Pringle III that would later become Paul Bearer, and General Skandar Akbar with Devastation Incorporated. But from that first love of pro wrestling, further being nurtured and grown through the beloved Bill Apter mags. Later, I would be fully trained in pro wrestling by the one and only Cody Hawk, known for training individuals like John Moxley, Sami Callihan, and L.A. Knight. Yeah! And now, I take those years of experience in the pro wrestling game and I bring it all to JCW as I present to you the unstoppable, incurable infection, Jackson Abel, the Outbreak.
What are your long-term goals here in JCW?
The long-term goals are simply this, Mac. To regain the JCW Tag Team Championship, a championship that the Outbreak truly never lost. And there is no more deserving team than my team. An undead attraction like no other. They have taken the professional wrestling industry by storm. For no man, woman, or beast alive shall survive. But in addition, we have that beautiful new JCW Lunacy World Heavyweight Championship. And I have to admit, Mac, there's a part of old Barnabas that would absolutely love to find a rather unique individual a curiosity, an abnormality, a monstrosity that I could take all the way to the JCW Lunacy World Heavyweight Championship. That is another long-term goal, but the most grandiose goal of all is to do whatever I can to enable and help Juggalo Championship Wrestling to ascend to new heights. Violent J's incredible vision, Vince Russo's extraordinary writing, and the exquisite performance. The larger-than-life characters and personas of Barnabas, the Outbreak, Cocaine, Stephen Flo, Big Vito, and the list goes on and on and on. We would like to do everything in our power to help all of you juggalos and juggalettes jump on board and help us elevate this brand and take it to new heights, because now it's not just for juggalos anymore. We are taking over the world.
Barnabas, thank you so much.
Mac, it is a pleasure and an honor, and we will see you in the traveling auditorium of Barnabas the Bizarre oh so soon.
And that's how things went with the Barnabas the Bizarre. Jeff, it is that time. I do see our special guest in the room. We're going to bring him in just a minute here. Anything, though, you want to talk about the show before we get into our special guest? Anything that you want to cover that we haven't covered?
Well, I think we got most of it. I just want to comment on that interview. Like Barnabas, well, he was somebody that would be fantastic to see out of his normal realm, like in character, put him on like the NFL draft panel when he, something like that. Like the guy's fantastic. He should be talking about every single thing he can talk about, man. I'm a big Barnabas mark.
I am too. I got a chance to speak with him last time while we were doing TV tapings, and he's a real interesting person. Speaking of interesting, let's get into our special guest here. Adding to the room is none other than the chosen one, Mr. Caleb Connley. Hey, Caleb.
What's going on, guys? Glad to be here.
Tell me, Caleb, first of all, how did you become the chosen one? How did that all come about?
Vince Russo's a genius. He's been around wrestling a whole long time. He's been part of making some of the biggest stars in the history of professional wrestling. So when he came to JCW, I mean, come on. He knew. He knew.
Did you enjoy when he had to come to you and say, "Hey, Caleb, I've got an idea." What were you thinking at the time? Did it just kind of blow you away a little bit that you got that kind of offer?
It blew me away. It definitely blew me away. Like I said, he's a guy who's made stars out of tons and tons of people in professional wrestling. And, it's a guy who I watched as a kid growing up. I've heard all the rumors and the stories and the bad and the good and everything in between. And when he came to me day one and told me he had an idea, it was it shocked me. I wasn't sure if it was a real thing, if this was just some kind of a joke to see how I would react. But here we are in the midst of the chaos.
Do you find it to create a lot of pressure for you to perform?
I take my job very seriously. It's always a lot of pressure to perform. I never want to become lackadaisical. I never want to become stagnant. So did it add pressure? Possibly, but I put plenty of pressure on myself to make sure I perform every night as at the high level that I've been doing it for 20 years.
Guys, if you'd like to have get a question into Caleb, just all you have to do is send us a super chat. We'll throw it up on the screen once it's there and get you up on the into the show along with us. Jeff, any questions?
Yeah, Caleb, I think one of the biggest impressionable visuals that we've had in this whole chosen one storyline was when you were revealed as the chosen one. The stuff with Jeeves and Ring Rat in the ring. I know there were several videos of the spinning back fist to Ring Rat that went extremely viral, millions of views. When you're in the moment, do you realize how good that was, or is that something that you're just doing your job, and then when you get done and you get to rewatch it and look at everything, like, wow, you know what, that was pretty good?
Like I said, I put a lot of pressure on myself, and on that particular day, I knew this was a put up or shut up moment. This is I can talk about it all day long, but can I really pull it off? And I knew that everything was kind of riding on how I performed that day. And, like, I thought it went well. In my head, it went well, but there's always that doubt. But when I got calls the next day from all of the top guys in the company, in the professional wrestling industry for that matter, I'm going to leave names out of it, but everyone told me how good of a job that I did on that day. And at that point, I realized, well, we're golden now.
Yeah, it absolutely looked like you took her head off. I mean, when that thing came around, and having been in the business, and this is what you're referring to, when I saw it, it's like, oh shit. I was like, man, he just killed her. It was a fantastic spot. It really, really was. Look, has to be a lot of things that kind of surprise you being in JCW. Is there anything that stands out for you that's been a big surprise while working in JCW?
Just how in depth, how involved Violent J is. Everyone on the team is on the team because they believe in the company. From the camera guys to the referees to the merch people, everyone who's in JCW wants to be here and is willing to do whatever it takes to grow the company. And for Violent J, who is also wants to do anything he can to make sure that this company grows and stays relevant. I mean, this is, he doesn't have to do this. He's not some random promoter. He's an international hip hop star for the past 30 years. He could easily just kept JCW the way it was years ago and run a show every once in a while, or, just like anybody else this is kind of a side hustle for them. They could just, they could wrap it up at any moment. But Violent J is doubling down. He's getting bigger stars. He's putting us on more tours. Like he's literally doing everything he said he would do in growing this company. And that's what stands out to me.
Yeah. And
Caleb, I know that go ahead, Jeff. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, I know there's several people that grew up juggalos that are in the company, and you're one of those people. You've shared the pictures when you were younger, and you got the ICP shirt on right now. How does that feel? I mean, you got to be like, oh, yeah, I'm in JCW like the first time you get there, right? I'm assuming anyway, growing up a juggalo and a wrestling fan, that is one of your goals is I want to wrestle for JCW.
Absolutely. I tell this story all the time. I hitchhiked the second gathering. I was in freshman going into sophomore year. I was 14 years old. I hitchhiked from Atlanta to Peoria, Illinois for the second, or that was a third annual, wherever it was a second year. I hitchhiked from Atlanta there to see, because I didn't want to miss it. I was like, I was a huge juggalo. I was huge into music. I was huge into wrestling, and when those two worlds combined, when I was a teenager, it was everything to me. And it was always a goal to be in JCW. I did a gathering in 2012, and I did a couple appearances around that same time. But this was at a point where Violent J was not even really a part of JCW. It was just something that toured with them. I never met him. We never interacted. So nothing really ever came of it. But then when the first Lunacy taping happened, like I felt like that was really the moment. Like Violent J watched my match. If I didn't do good that day, who knows? Maybe you'll never see Caleb Connley in JCW ever again. But on that particular day, I brought it, and Violent J really appreciated that, and he's kept me employed ever since.
That's the great thing about working in JCW when you hear that from all the talent that are there about Violent J and how he is with the talent and how he treats them very well, and he does. If he believes in you, you will know he believes in you, and that's why everybody is there. He believes in the people that are on that roster, and that roster works hard to make sure they don't let him down. That's why it works so damn well. Hey, look, if you got questions for Caleb, all you have to do is send us a super chat. We'll throw it up on the screen. I do see a few people kind of poking fun about your hair, dude, looking like AJ Styles.
What do you want to do? What do you want to do? When my hair was short, I got MJF. Do it another way. I do it blonde. You say I'm somebody else. It's whatever. I had my hair like this before AJ Styles when his was short in TNA.
Now, where are you staying now? Are you in Georgia? You mentioned Georgia a while ago. Is that where you are
grew up
now?
in Atlanta. I moved to Charlotte in 2007 to work for highspots.com. Got a good plug out for them. And that's where the High Spot school was and the store. So I started training with George South around that time, 2007. Been in Charlotte ever since.
Any
Blair
George
country.
South stories you can share?
George South stories? Oh man, he's a lunatic. I love him.
Yeah.
He's like my second father. We used to do training classes and every Tuesday, and he would do his best. He would blow everybody up. He wouldn't do his best. He would blow everybody up. We would be doing crazy long drills and spots, but eventually everyone learned if you figured out what he was talking about earlier in the day, if you just kind of brought it up, if you were blown up and if you were gassed out and you needed a break, you could just ask him about what happened earlier in the day that irritated him. And he would go on a 20-minute spiel about whatever it was that irritated him that particular day. Loved that. I got to go to the gathering 2 years ago. I drove up with George. He had done the WrestleCade spot, I guess, the year before with Violent J, and they met and they kind of became friends. But he had never really done a Juggalo show. He didn't really know what he was getting himself into, and to top it all off, he was starting at the gathering. And I was on the road with him, and the whole time on the road, he would have people texting him and calling him, basically just wishing him luck that he makes it through the gathering. And everyone kept going, "Oh, George, are you sure you want to do this? It's crazy up there. They're throwing Fago. There's naked girls, yada yada yada." And he looks me dead in the eyes and he goes, "I used to be in Crockett locker rooms with the Four Horsemen. What do you think that any of these people are going to do that I haven't seen from them?" Everyone kind of treats George with like kid gloves. They don't. He's a big time Christian. All of that stuff is real. He's super into that. But at the end of the day, like, he's been in the craziest locker rooms during the craziest periods of wrestling ever.
Caleb, before we get out of here, anything you want to get across? T-shirts, sales, websites, you name it. What do you want to push?
I mean, follow me online. Be someone else of that 4 million people who watched my amazing turn on the Ring Rat and Jeeves. Let's get that up. Maybe we'll get it to 5 million. Pro Wrestling Tees, / Caleb Conley. Just check out my socials. I'm going to be at every freaking JCW show that's ever going to exist because I'm going to be the champion. Other than that, I'm going to be in Memphis wrestling next Sunday.
Wow.
Also AML wrestling here in the Carolinas. Check me out whenever I'm in your town.
You better bring your headphones this weekend because Willie Mack will be there and he'll be snoring everybody awake.
And I'll be taking pictures of him in the locker room while he's snoring.
Look here, let me ask you. I mentioned this last week, and somebody said I was lying. But have you ever seen him sleep when he's snoring and he kind of rises up, kind of out of his it's not his bed, but I guess the couch that he's sleeping
wherever
on.
it is that he happens to be laying. Oh yeah.
It'll scare the hell out of you. I mean, I woke up at 2:00 in the morning and here's this guy all of a sudden reaching back like that, and people thought I was lying. This is the truth. Willie Mack, not only is he loud,
he was asleep on the, what do you call it? Where you like the footrest?
Yeah, the ottoman.
The ottoman. He was asleep on the middle of the ottoman. Just didn't care at all. Just everyone all around him.
Not at all. Jeff, anything you want to push before we get out of here?
Guys, listen, we appreciate all of you in the chat every single night talking about the talent on the show, getting excited, telling us what you like, what you don't like. It's fun to read, and everybody that showed up here, thank you very much. Just share JCW with your friends, guys. There's nothing better than having people you hang out with and being excited about the same thing you are. And JCW is a good thing to get people excited with. So please keep sharing it. You guys are the best asset that JCW has.
And also a reminder that we have 3 free shows this weekend. On Friday night, we'll be at Harpo's in Detroit. Then we'll be at the Vault in Saginaw. And then on Sunday, we'll be at Gruel Hall at 224 in Lansing. These are free shows, and these shows are a lot of fun. If you've never been to one, you need to come see one. I promise you'll have a good time. I haven't seen anybody that doesn't have a good time at these shows. And there's a reason for that. It's because of the quality of the entertainment that you'll get. Caleb Connley, thank you very much for being our special guest tonight. Jeff, yeah, I've enjoyed it as always, and we will see you again next week, same time, same place, right here.
Thank you, guys. How do I get out of here?